The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus said to his disciples, "Left from here and began a journey through Galilee, but he did not wish anyone to know about it. He was teaching his disciples and telling them, 'The Son of Man is to be handed over to men, and they will kill him. And 3 days after his death, the Son of Man will rise.' But they did not understand the saying and were afraid to question him. They came to Capernaum, and once inside the house, he began to ask them, 'What are you arguing about on your way?' But they remained silent. They had been discussing among themselves on the way who was the greatest. Then he sat down, called the 12, and said to them, 'If anyone wishes to be first, he shall be the last of all and the servant of all.' Taking a child, he placed it in their midst, and putting his arm around it, he said to them, 'Whoever receives one child such as this in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not only me, but the one who sent me.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Ambition of itself is not a bad thing. Ambition on itself, by itself, calls us and challenges us to strive to be the best that we can be. Whether it be in sports, entertainment, education, what have you. What the problem is in our gospel today is that all of them were ambitious, but it was for the wrong reasons. They thought they were great in and of themselves, the disciples. But Jesus told them how greatness is accomplished. Greatness is accomplished by serving other people, not by being served. By humbling yourself, not humbling others. I'm reminded of what Jesus did at the Last Supper. If you ever have gone to that liturgy, you will remember the gospel from St. John. Jesus gets on his hands and knees with a basin and a jug of water and a towel and washes his disciples' feet. Now, anyone here dare to not call Jesus great? And yet he got down on his hands and knees and washed the smelly, grimy, dirty feet of his 12 disciples. That's the image of greatness that Jesus wants us to keep in our mind. But too often in our world today, we have this image of greatness as someone who is served. Someone who everyone falls down in front of. The one who has the big mansion and has all kinds of people to serve them and respond to their every whim. But that's not greatness. Greatness is not measured by what you have as much as it's measured but by what you've done for others. St. James tells us that it's selfish ambition that is the problem. When we think only of ourselves, too many people today, it's all about me. What's in it for me? What do I get out of it? That's not what Jesus would ever say. Jesus would never utter those words. What's in it for me? But we live in a time where so many people think only of themselves. We have mothers leaving babies at like garbage dumpsters because they're inconvenient. A child inconvenient? But greatness would never do that. I'm reminded of Father Solanus, blessed Solanus, who never turned anyone away, but was always there to lift people up. And he would never think about tearing anybody down who made wrong choices. I'm reminded of Mother Teresa, Saint Teresa of Calcutta, who spent her life with the poorest of the poor in the streets, the gutters, if you will, of Calcutta, India. We don't know poverty like she saw. We don't know that kind of poverty in the United States. And she saw it, and she spent herself until nearly her dying day lifting people up. I'm reminded of John Paul II, John Paul the Great, who spent his pontificate, all 25 years, in his role as a supreme pontiff of the Catholic Church, lifting people up, calling people to attend to the needs of the poor and the disadvantaged, to stop thinking about only themselves and think instead about their neighbor left on the side of the road. His whole pontificate was one of lifting people up, not tearing people down. We heard from our first two readings today, in essence, what wisdom is. Well, the wise person knows where greatness is found. It's not in lifting ourselves up. It's not thinking highly of only ourselves and wanting the best for ourselves, but for lifting others up. That's where greatness is found. And that's where true wisdom is found. Knowing that as Christ got on his hands and knees and washed feet, we're never too good to humble ourselves for someone else. But we're willing, always, in following Christ, to get our hands dirty, to glorify God. May that be our attitude, to shy away, to reject even the attitude of thinking only of myself. Because we'll never be great that way. Only when we follow the Master and get our hands dirty.